All right, I'm gonna call to order the October 8th, 2025 Fire Station Building Committee and ask if anybody's recording other than LakeCAM. Probably a no, so move right on to agenda item number 2, approval of minutes from 9/10/2025. Everybody have a chance to take a look at them?
Motion to approve?
Second.
So all those in favor?
Hi.
Anyone
Cool, I'm
opposed?
sorry. Are we supposed to do the roll call
We
thing?
gotta do the roll call
Oh,
first.
yeah.
Sukforth, aye.
McCullough abstain.
O'Brien, aye.
Darling, aye.
Conroy, aye.
Motion passed. All right, my favorite part. And then on the item number 3, we'll pass it over to Taylor.
Thank you. I think between Kyle and I, we'll give you some updates. We actually have a good amount of updates from when we, were last in front of the committee, when we had, the update on the bidding. So since that time, things have been moving quickly in terms of getting the contract signed and getting the site ready in terms of natural heritage. And I'm sure, Nate, you have some stuff to add to that too. But so the contract was executed and signed with Page Construction. With all their bonds and insurances were received by the town. Those are all reviewed. Everything was approved. So we do have the notice to proceed, which will start the time ticking on their contract time there. Ready to go. We're not going to issue it yet because what we're waiting on is just final approval for Natural Heritage to say, yes, go ahead, use the site. It's really not fair to give them the notice to proceed and they can't start work out there yet. So we did talk about that we had a kickoff meeting with them last Friday. And what that kickoff meeting is, it's our team, a few people, the chief attended, the design team attended, and obviously the contractor. And what that is to really just understand the flow and responsibilities of the project. So how change orders are going to work, how requests for information are going to work, how things are going to get paid, who are the prime point of contact for everything, who do you go through if there's any emergencies, what are the working hours for the town. So really nothing in terms of, what the project will be doing on the day-to-day other than how it's going to function as an entity as the project moves forward. So good meeting that we had again last Friday. Right now the GC is prepping to get going on site. They wanted to start clearing as quickly actually as this week. But again, we can't do anything until we get that final piece from Natural Heritage. So over the past 2 weeks, there's been a real push to make sure we don't miss the window of the turtle sweep because we don't want to miss that period where the turtles go into hibernation and we really can't get a sweep there. So working with Nate, and thanks to Nate for helping push that and getting us in contact with the right contractors there. We got the turtle fence up. The turtle sweep was completed yesterday by Brian Madden from LEC. No turtles were found. So next up is turtle training. And that is basically teaching anybody that's going to be working on the site, to identify and how to look for turtles as the project moves on. I'd say luckily we did this project, no turtles were found during that, so we're kind of expecting the same thing. And then I know on a kind of a separate parallel course is the whole, land portion or acceptance of that land with Natural Heritage, but it sounds like we're close in that fashion. So once we hit that final approval, then the contractor is basically ready to go. So they've signed contracts with the site contractor. They've signed up all their filed sub bids. So they're excited to get going. As far as any of that goes, did I miss anything in terms of kickoff?
No, I think the next step we're working on a conform set, which is just a set of documents to be used in the field, all the questions and changes we made during the den props. So we put them all in one set. We're putting that together. We will be, I think I received the last portion. I was hoping that we'd have the conform set to be the same as the permit set, but there's a little delay in that. So we're using, it's kind of half and half. Some of the engineers have sent the conform set as a permit set. Some are using the bid set, but they're not any major changes, so they should have, I believe I got the last set of stamp drawings this afternoon, so I should be able to turn that around tomorrow, and then the permit will go in, as soon as Paige turns it around and submits it. And then the conform set will come. Obviously, the conform set is not a contractual set, so they're contractual, the contract is between the bid set and all those addendums, so the conform set is more convenience, so we're not guaranteeing that everything that was mentioned in those addendums are in there, but it's a convenience set, so when that goes in, Nate, if there's anything that comes up that is missing and you need, just let us know. We're glad to provide additional information, so.
No, that'll be good. So I was gonna mention that and speak to Paige and, get a building permit application in sooner than later, electrical, plumbing, all of the associated permits in place. We're working to finalize the site plan review process through the planning board. Spencer had a couple of small changes requested from MassDOT. I've determined those to be insubstantial. Don't have to go back to the planning board, to rehash the site plan itself. There's a condition within the approval to allow me to just make that determination. Very minor changes, so it's not a big deal. The only thing is that last set of plans needs to get to the planning department to get signed so we can go record it at Plymouth County.
Yep.
Also following up on the conservation notice of intent. Order of conditions also need to be recorded, so trying to track that down. I heard today that it was mailed to PAR. I don't know if they've received it yet. If they're not planning on recording that set, they just got to get it back to me so I can.
I did talk to Spencer today. We did not talk about this one, but I'm pretty sure that what he sent over was his final conform set. So I think he's got a set with those adjustments in it, but I will check with him again tomorrow and we'll just make sure. But I know, we were hoping to get it last week and I was waiting for a conform set, and then a couple of the engineers said, oh, it's going to take us a little more time. And I was like, let's get a set out there. Like we don't need every single change. Let's get a set out there, get the permit process going. We'll keep you updated.
And that's good, because we're a little way away from the actual need for a building permit. It's just that I want to make sure that all of the conditions that were initiated by the planning board decision and the conservation commission, we got to make sure we get those, both the order of conditions from conservation and the decision of the planning board to the site contractor. Make sure all of the different pieces are taken care of, and conservation agent will have to go out and look at the erosion control. So this is just the turtle barrier was one piece of that. Now we're going to go in and install silt sock and
and we'd like to have everything in place, ideally before they do anything out there. We know they can do certain things on the land clear and kind of prep without the permit, but we want to get it in so that you have it and you have enough time that they're not knocking down the door saying, hey, we want to get started. What's taking so long?
I'd really appreciate that, because we're kind of behind, and obviously I'll prioritize this, but a project of this size does require a little bit to kind of go through and make sure everything's buttoned up from a documentation perspective. The other thing on the site itself, we did get out and locate our town fiber. So we're going to come up with a plan on probably relocation. Green Rivers is working on that now to see what the best course of action would be. There's a piece that goes north up Bedford Street. It's going to go interfere with the curb cut. It's 18 inches or so.
I took a look at that, and then as it goes back in the park too, it's right in that corner.
The septic system, the septic tank's right there, all of our plantings, the two different access points. So we just got to figure out how to get that rerouted safely when it can be anticipated shutdown. So, in an ideal scenario, we'll get conduit buried, fiber in the ground, go to 2 different splice boxes, and then we can cut service, make the splices bypass in one day, instead of, if for some reason we hit it inadvertently, it would be a bigger deal.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen now that it's marked out.
I was nervous putting a turtle back.
Yeah, I know. It's actually pretty close to it.
I'm like, I don't even know where this is, but to be honest,
The flags are actually pretty close to it, so.
they are.
But back to the order of conditions, so the contractor does have a copy of the order of conditions.
Okay.
You know, obviously it's not the recorded one, but, they do have that, so they're reviewing that, making sure they comply with everything there. And then we'll confirm with PAR if they're gonna be the ones to record, at the registry.
Yeah,
And we'll make sure we get that buttoned up.
Yeah, and if they're not, they can send it back.
Yeah, we just wanna make sure it's not going like this. So one of the things what I didn't mention was before the turtle barrier went up, the contractor had to get out there and survey the limit of work. So, they've already been out there, surveyed the site. They'll be doing more surveys, once the trees come down, things like that. But, so they do have tie points now, they do have boundaries of the site. So that's exactly what you see that turtle barrier follow is an actual surveyed, site there. Water line, we actually have the bids due tomorrow, for the water line work. So we had a, on-site walkthrough last week and, expecting bids tomorrow. So, the contract drawings for for the fire station project do follow, coordination efforts, throughout the drawings that, they'll just need to meet and coordinate with whoever that contractor is. I did mention it to Paige to see if it was something they wanted to bid on, or have their site contractor bid on as well. Just handle under one house, but I'm not sure if they did that or not, but we'll see tomorrow. Moving forward here, geotechnical engineer, that's as far as construction, administration proposal. Kyle, you're working on that?
Mm-hmm.
So, we had a geotech, obviously geotech report done, prior to going out to, bid. Now we just need to get a proposal for that geotechnical engineer to be on site, when they're installing footings and foundations, to make sure, we're hitting virgin ground, things are being backfilled properly, that sort of thing. So, we're working on that proposal as well as, getting proposals for commissioning. We're working on that process now as well. And I think the last update that we have was, last meeting, we were asked to look into the 179D tax deduction program, by the Energy Advisory Committee. So we had a call today, with Phil Oliveira, who's on that committee, who has background in that sort of thing, knows much more than I do. So, we were on that call, Kyle and the electrical HVAC engineers from BER were on that as well. So, we're looking to see, first of all, if it makes sense for the town to go after that tax credit. The way that it would work is a credit would be issued basically. It goes back to the design team, and then the design team would probably issue a credit back to the town if it was to work through that way in terms of the funding source for the back in terms of how the credit works. What we needed to find out really is the design itself 25% over and above what ASHRAE standards are, what they were in 2019. We're still doing some more research on it, but basically what it's going to come down to is there's probably a third party that has gone through this process. Phil's going to help us try to find a third party consultant that can take our design and model it against what that 2019 ASHRAE standard is for energy efficiency. The reason it's not so easy for the design team to do so is they'd have to run their own kind of model for a 2019 ASHRAE standard fire station, and then they'd have to run a model for this new building and then compare the two. Whereas if you do get to a consultant that kind of does this thing all the time and submits these sort of grants, much easier and probably a cost savings in the end. So we're kind of working through that to see if this even makes sense for this project, but we are kind of going down that wormhole a little bit to see if we can save the town some money.
BER doesn't typically do their own energy models.
Yeah.
It's a very kind of specific thing that's, because it does incorporate the building kind of architectural detailing of it as well as the mechanical side. So when they need to do it, they usually go out to a consultant again. So if they're not going to do it in-house, there's no savings there. They're going out to a consultant. So the thought is if it's gonna even remotely be feasible and not, take 75 to 80% of what you get back and getting it done, we'll go to somebody that does it, all the time. And it still may be, a big chunk of what you could get back in cost. So, the idea is we'll get a cost from we'll talk to somebody, find out if they think it's even worth it. I mean, they could come back and say, no, our fee's gonna be, 75% of it, you're not gonna get enough to make it worth the effort. But, that's probably the most efficient way to see if it's really still a viable.
And the way the building is built anyway, I mean, it's built to the energy code, which is very stringent anyway and keeps getting more stringent. Chances are it's over and above what that 2019 ASHRAE standard is. What we kind of talked about today was, if it comes back at, instead of 25% over, it's 22, maybe there's a small tweak we can make to the design or change something to get it up to that 25% to make it worthwhile for the town. So that's just kind of what we, in layman's terms, because I'm learning as well, but that's kind of what we need to just understand is kind of where it matches up against ASHRAE at this point.
Would the sorry to interrupt the question.
Yeah.
Would the people who give out the money for these incentives, would they even take the design company? Would they take their numbers and just say, "Oh, okay, here you go"?
We don't know.
Right,
So
okay.
BER has never been involved in it. I had heard of the program, we had looked into it, or I think we were contacted about it, like from a third party for a project, and we said, no, we weren't, whatever the situation on that project. We didn't go after it. But essentially they're new to this, so
Yeah.
we
'Cause I
can't
would
tell you
think-
one way or the other.
Yeah.
Whether they would even accept their numbers, or if there has to be, they may only accept certain software telling you that those numbers are correct. I don't know what that, what that is. We were, BER was basically looking up the requirements on the IRS website, because it's an IRS tax credit, so they were going through it
Okay.
as we were, trying to find details as we were going. That's why we're pretty sure it's at ASHRAE 2019, but that's, based on when it's built, there was all, there's all these different ranges on when you fall in and which guideline you actually have to follow. So
Our thought was a consultant that does this regularly, they'd be more apt to accept their
Independent.
yes,
And-
other than us saying, yeah, it's 30% over, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what we kind of got to the crux of the conversation ourselves, was we can run kind of all these tests and models ourselves, but I think having an independent review of it is and somebody that's actually submitted some of these is probably the best way to get something, through.
Right.
I don't know if, we're gonna go through the process to see if it, does make, fiscal sense or not. My feeling is that the program is built more for much larger buildings.
Right.
Because the kickback you get is a dollar value per square foot. So, like a large warehouse or something like that, something that there's just tons of square feet, you get a bigger incentive in the end. So, I don't know, that's just my feeling on it.
And the window's somewhere between, I think it's $2, a little above $2 up to just above $5. But, from what we saw today, to get maximum, it requires, prevailing wage, which obviously we're covering here, but also requires apprenticeship program, percentage of apprenticeship, which is more of a union. And, we didn't know, we have to check to see, we may have union contractors on the site, but we may not. We may just have prevailing wage. So we may not even be able to meet some of those thresholds. So what is that,
Yeah.
unless you know what those percentages drop, it could be, 10 cents different a square foot, or it could be $1 different a square foot. And that's going to make a huge difference on whether it really fiscally makes sense to even go through the process. So, there was a lot of questions today. We had a bunch of answers, but we really need kind of somebody that really does this to tell us doesn't make sense, and how much effort is actually needed to achieve it.
Yeah, so we'll report back when we have more, but that was just from our discussions today on it, so.
It seems like a worthwhile exercise. I mean, we had a resident bring it to us. We discussed it briefly at the Energy Advisory Committee. From my understanding, I'm not familiar with the program, but it was my understanding based on the conversations that we had at the Energy Advisory Committee, this is kind of morphed into the municipal sector. This was a private sector tax credit for energy efficiencies, and as things evolve, this is a fairly recent thing that's been available to the municipal sector. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of people that are working specifically in the municipal sector are not aware of this. So it was good that it was brought to our attention. It's, you know, good that we checked the box.
Exactly, that's what we're doing.
Good.
Any questions on kind of next steps forward as far as schedule goes? But the schedule kind of will depend on Natural Heritage in terms of, you know, when they'll actually start and get, you know, boots on the ground. But the contractor is working on their baseline schedule right now. So once I have that, I can, you know, distribute that out to the committee, and you know, go from there. The next thing would be mobilization of, you know, fencing, clearing, you know, trailers, you know, that whole thing. So temporary power is going to be the bulk of what we would see next.
We did, during our meeting, we did ask Paige to give us some warnings so the town can put out some notifications that, hey, work's gonna start, you know, next week or whenever that date is, you know, at least a few days warning before they're on site, so you can notify people and it's not just a surprise, hey, all of a sudden somebody's out clearing the site and, you know, you haven't told anybody what's going on. So we'll give you some notice on when that date comes in with their schedule and when you'll start to see activity on the site.
Yeah, and I don't think we need a lot of specificity on that. You know, it might be an update, you know, over the next month, we're gonna see X, Y, and Z starting to take shape. I mean, obviously, we have already seen it with the turtle barrier, turtle sweeps, marking out fiber. We're gonna see an elevated level of activity on the site over the next month, including tree clearing and those types of things. So probably can put that notice out at any point.
Based on Paige, I think they would start I mean, if Natural Heritage says tomorrow that, you know, the site's clear, they'll probably be here, they'll want to be here on Monday, get started, you know, they're ready to go. So, you know, they want to keep moving and get the process started, so.
Quick question, Nate, maybe you know this. If I don't anticipate them needing any kind of police detail when they're working on the entranceway of Ted Williams, but when they're working on the Bedford Street side and cutting in, is the police detail that they'll need, they'll need one there, that road is chaos. Is that covered from Paige?
Yep.
Okay,
It's
just
part of the
curious.
contract. Yep.
No, curious in advance. I know that may get asked, because that could
Brings
be
up a good point.
several days, you know?
Even with MassDOT, do you know where we're at? Have we gotten MassDOT approval or?
Very close.
Very close.
I think we're very close, but we don't have approval yet. I think,
Because those conditions will be all part of
Yeah.
that MassDOT approval.
The second round of comments was sent back to MassDOT. And last I heard from Spencer, he was expecting comments back any day now, like final approval or any comments on those comments, but they've gone back and forth now 4 times.
I think, it was probably about a month ago now, Spencer said at worst case, it'd be like early December if, you know, things are just delayed, but he doesn't see any, you know, sometime between now and December, he expects to get the official approval from them. There's no major outline. I guess they went through some of the comments. They kind of all agreed that, you know, they pushed back on a few things and questioned some things. And my understanding is they've all kind of agreed that yes, you know, what the solution is. And they've all been sent to them. So now it's really just timing for them to review it and then approve it.
Yeah, so there's nothing that's jeopardizing the project that we've seen. And we saw that a little bit here, if you recall, Taylor.
Yep.
Is they were looking at proximity, the curb cuts and all those things. So as long as we haven't heard any comment that was like a, you know, conversation.
No showstoppers, no.
Yeah,
so-
no.
And then with the water line too, you know, thankfully, you know, we had that meeting about pulling everything kind of out of the street at the entrance there. So even doing that work, you know, I don't see any issues with getting that work started and going either, so.
So there's nothing on that that's gonna slow the project. So once we get natural heritage, and I'll touch on that, when you're done a little bit. Once we get that going, we'll be able to start cutting trees.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
One question on schedule, does chapter 149 of our contract language set any constraints on the time that elapses from award to notice to proceed? Is there any deadline we gotta make sure that we stay within?
I think it might be 30 days. I'm pretty sure it's 30 days actually, yeah, but, I think we'd only run into that issue if we had a contractor that was, you know, not willing to work with us, so to speak, but we could always put an extension to that too.
Okay.
But I don't see us getting into that 30-day time frame, at this point. Yeah.
I think the worst case scenario would be they'd want it back at the end. You know, just so, you know, if they felt like, oh, there was, you know, 30 days they missed out on, you know, they'd want to make sure that those 30 days are added to the end of the contract so that they're not penalized for time they can't
It's
spend.
more of an escalation thing, is that the notice to proceed is gonna set the
Correct.
contract time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just if that stretches out, I've seen it happen before, you know, if there's escalation going on, they'll come looking for that.
Yeah. Were you asking between notice of award and notice to proceed, or
Yeah.
notice? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 30 days, but I don't see any issues with that at this point. Yeah. I think we'll be able to get that notice to proceed in before the 30
Notice of
days.
award's already happened, you get a signed contract
Correct.
there.
Yep.
yep.
Yeah, and that happened last week. So
Yeah.
we're still, you know, I think we have plenty of time. A good point. Those were all of my updates, Nate.
So do we have a specific date on the turtle training?
Yes, Thursday, next Thursday. I did send out an invite. You just might not have seen it yet, Chief.
I've been busy.
Yeah,
Thursday.
9:30 to 10,
Is it in person or virtual or anything like that?
virtual.
Okay, does it matter who we invite? Should I invite multiple members of the fire department?
You can invite as many people as you want.
Okay.
Yeah. I sent this out. So that's a good question. Because last time we did it in person. I think we just need to confirm with Brian if it needs to be in person or if online's fine.
I saw your invite, that's why I figured it was on.
Yeah, because it's just what happens naturally when
Yeah,
you
it's
set
the
it.
default.
But I'll confirm that. I was planning to be here, but if we can do it online, even better.
Okay. And if we need to book this room, can reach out to Kristen.
He usually is just 20 minutes, half hour in the field, shows us some pictures of some turtles, gives us some phone numbers to call. So I don't think it shouldn't be too much.
Then he hides one and you have to go find it.
I've been looking forward to this. So,
I can't take the turtle thing seriously, to be honest with you. So, no, thanks for the update on all that, Taylor.
Edit
So-
that out for Facebook.
So just to kind of touch a little bit on what Taylor was talking about with natural heritage. So we offered, so the property itself is mapped natural heritage. We've gone through this, eastern box turtle. We have to mitigate the take of that land. So the use of that land, we have to figure out how to mitigate that. So we took about a half a dozen properties around town, sent them over to Natural Heritage, asked them if they were something that they would consider habitat, or nesting habitat. They turned around and they were pretty much no on all of them. So they set up a process that you put in a donation to this fund. It's an Eastern Box Turtle Fund. The number is $15,120. Natural Heritage actually has a calculation based on land area, based on, area in the state that you're in. That's what the number is, $15,120. To me, it's a deal. I don't like spending money on something that's not part of the mission, as the chief would say. But it's a statewide program. It's endangered species. They would prefer the land, usually 1.5 times the land disturbance. They would prefer to protect land, but the money goes into a pot that looks for other land to buy it elsewhere in the Commonwealth. So at $15,120, I think we're clear of that encumbrance. So what we're gonna do now is, we wanted to just talk about that, tonight. Andrew's gonna get it on the next select board's meeting, for a vote. I'm not sure exactly how we'll do that. I wanna make sure this board has an opportunity to talk about it. But it's a necessary evil. It's controlled by the town, but it's coming out of the fire station, fund, if you will, the appropriation. It's an ancillary cost relative to the construction, specifically related to clearing the property. So it's a necessary, well, I don't want to say a necessary evil, but it's necessary.
So that can't be paid right from our board? It has to go to the select board?
So in an ideal world, if we weren't trying to push this a little bit quicker,
Yeah.
we found out about this yesterday, that Natural Heritage accepted the donation instead of the land encumbrance.
Yeah.
We just found out about it yesterday, or I would have got it on tonight's meeting for a vote.
Oh, okay.
So it would have been a vote to recommend to the select board to pay this amount to clear the property of Natural Heritage.
Yep.
Whereas we didn't have enough time, I figured I'd just kind of make everybody aware of it, and we'll just bring it back to solidify, and that'll go hand in hand with LEC's most recent proposal for turtle sweeps, barrier inspection. They have reporting that they have to do to with Natural Heritage and the turtle training. Their previous proposal was in the amount of $6,500. That was for the permitting itself, talking to the town, exploring options for mitigation. That was approved back on 9/27 of 2023. If you recall, even though the proposal was for 65, we did a not to exceed $9,000 number. So we had enough there to just keep this going, even though the new proposal is 4,500, so it brings us to 11. So the next meeting, I'll end up putting on the agenda for a vote to add an additional $2,000 to cover the 11. That work hasn't been done, but I had given them a verbal notice to proceed on the turtle sweeps and the inspection to keep us moving in the right direction. I just figured I'd bring that up. So that'll be on the next agenda.
Can you give me that dollar amount, the 15,000?
So $15,120.
Any sense?
No sense.
Okay.
No. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
No.
I'll update the budget, I'll add a line item in our budget for
Yeah,
that.
so 15,120, and then we're gonna be adding 4,500 to LEC.
Yeah, so LEC will go to 11.
Yep.
Okay.
The
perfect.
meeting's on Tuesday as well for that vote, so
Okay, that's great.
should be good.
I mean,
after that.
knock on wood, but everything's, kind of falling into place, with that, with what we need to do, so.
So if that takes place, the check gets cut, sent over to Eastern Box Turtle Fund, and I had it here, it's
Foundation fund.
Turtle Foundation, yeah. Yeah, that has to get sent to them, they accept it, and then Natural Heritage will release. So
Release the-
probably 2-3 weeks, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right.
But the site, they're doing the SWIP now anyway,
Yep,
right? So
yep.
that's, a week, 10 days on that, so I don't think we're lucky that the timing is working out on this.
Yeah, no, I don't see any issues with the contractor. They understand the process, so.
All right, so that's that, and that'll both be on the next agenda, the LEC, and then just to discuss the select board vote, but we're just gonna move that forward. All right, approving invoices.
Can I just bring up a couple more things I
Sure.
missed, but, a couple of, fun things, I guess, but, groundbreaking ceremony. Start thinking about that. Chief, I sent you just kind of a quick down and dirty email before I came here of kind of what to expect, what, we typically see. But, our recommendation would probably be let them get the site cleared, get the site established, and then we can set up and do a proper groundbreaking ceremony. It's never really done, before they start, pulling down trees and stuff like that. So it's good to get the site clear, Then we get, some pieces of equipment in the background, we can get people parking there, on site. I think we can do it right. So, just something to think about as we move, kind of forward there. If you have any questions, reach out to me, but it's obviously not as much fanfare as, the ribbon cutting is. It's usually more down and dirty. Chief gets up there and says something. Nate gets up there and says something.
This is the matching deal.
Andrew, it's Lorraine might want to say something. Whoever wants to speak can surely speak. And then some photo opportunities and refreshments. But that's it's pretty down and dirty for that sort of thing. Usually do it in the morning. It's over in an hour or two. And the last thing, I know we brought this up last meeting, but construction working groups. I think we talked about, was it Wednesdays or Thursdays?
When we talked about Wednesday last week of project meetings being on Wednesdays.
Yeah, we're looking at Wednesday mornings to have our weekly construction meetings. So you just start thinking about who can attend, as that, smaller working group, and that can change too, if, depending on who can make it. It doesn't always have to be the same people that attend, but, obviously you can't have a quorum, but, it's always good to have, representation from the town there, during those meetings. So just to keep everybody, abreast of what's going on, so.
Would you say ideally 3?
Yeah, I think ideally 3. Chief or fire department really doesn't have an option. I think you guys should be there for everything one way or the other. So, but then I think you yourself, I know you instrumental in this project as well. Andrew, of course, and then anybody else from the committee that wants to drop in. Again, just have to be careful of quorum. But
I can always send a designee,
Yeah.
like Emily or something.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, in general, they're really, nuts and bolts discussions. There's not typically a lot of any excitement in them. This is what we're doing next coming up. So, and then, what's going on site, and if there's any ongoing, conversations about details or whatever. So, the biggest information I think most of that would be to share town schedule, so, but as Taylor said, they're there if you guys want to join or periodically join, but
yeah. I think it's interesting if you haven't been through the building process to see how it goes together for sure. So.
Who's the clerk of the works from Palmer?
So it's going to be Neil Provost from our side, and Anthony Fonseca. We're going to have 2.
Okay.
And so I haven't really figured out schedules. Sometimes it'll be both of them. Other times it might be one or the other. But I'm kind of working on that right now. They're both finishing up a project, Swansea Public Library. So you'll see more of Neil. Neil's been with us for 10 plus years. Anthony's been with us for 3. But both, I think, are very qualified for this project. So.
And we're bringing on Al Calcagno. He'll be doing a lot of the construction administration. He'll be there almost every week. I'll be in every few weeks to keep up. I'll be doing more of the office end of it. He'll be doing more of the field end of it. So he may come to some of these meetings. I may spare him the evening meetings, but you'll see him out and around on the site. As soon as we get kicked off and started, he'll be up here more often.
So both of those individuals I mentioned both have fire station experience. So Neil's done, I think, 4 or 5. Anthony's done 3 in Plymouth. So they're both very well suited for fire stations.
Okay.
Good, that it?
That's it. Yeah.
All right.
Well, the Procore stuff, I don't know if you want to mention that, but
Which is it?
Procore access? Is this-
Yes, sorry. Good thing I put together an agenda. You're following it.
I skipped that.
Yeah. Really updates. We have an agenda obviously here, but it's my own updates, so everybody has them. But yeah, Procore access. So the contractor will be using Procore. It's an online construction management software. So You can go on there and you can see, any of the, RFIs, requests for information. You can see all the submittals for all the products. You can see any of the change orders, documents, everything's up there. It's a one source, for everything. But, if anybody wants access to that, we can, send out the link, or actually the contractor would send out the link, but just let us know. And if the whole committee wants access to that, that's fine. It's up there. It's for everybody, to look at and, follow along. You probably want to turn off notifications, because you'll probably be getting, about 50 a day. That's kind of how it works when it starts at the beginning there. It's just constant updates because not only, so every time like a submittal gets uploaded, right, the contractor's uploading the submittal and it's then shooting out something saying, look, I'm uploaded, this has to be reviewed. Kyle gets a look at it, they do a review of it, shoots it back to the contractor, oh, you need to revise this. So there's a ton of back and forth that's happening, but you don't have to see any of that. You can just, we can set the notifications that you're just seeing the final products of things that are done, so.
And they keep logs of photos, daily photos. I mean, that's for the most part, that would be what, you can see the progress through photos. There's a lot of information on there. It's relatively simple to move around in. So.
Yeah, it's actually very easy to use. Probably one of the better online kind of submittal portals. But if you want, we can just add everybody from the committee. If there's anybody that doesn't want to be on it, then we can take you off. But I think it's easier to just get everybody on there, and that way, if there's questions, everything's in one place.
We'll talk to Paige because they set it up, but I believe you can be on there for viewing, so you can go on, look around without having to worry that you're going to screw something up.
That's a good point too. We don't want you approving. We don't want you approving submittals and things like that.
The chief did what?
Yeah. So it'll be viewing only, which you can click on everything still, but you just won't be able to approve or delete anything.
So Taylor, when everything's, because that sounds pretty interesting, and can you export that to a file when all the finals are done?
Exactly.
As far as like the closeout
Yeah.
docs?
So at the end of the project, you get a nice download of everything.
Good.
It's all separated into folders, so it makes turnover documents really easy. The contractor still has to go through and meet all of the turnover requirements, but it makes a big portion of it. Where you used to get all those binders and the plans, everything is in one place. So it's
So is
great.
that included like equipment warranties and stuff like that?
Yeah, so-
Submittals, or-
Yeah.
Yes, so usually we'll get warranty stuff separately because we'll have hard copies of those warranty items and signed, but pretty much everything goes in there. And you get all the conversation that goes along with that, like who checked it, if it went back and forth. And I believe Procore keeps them active. I think the contractors can dictate how long it stays active, but it stays active for a few years after the project's done, where you can go back in and see it. Like I have old projects, when I go in mine, I can still go into some old projects, but yeah, they download it, they kind of put the whole package together. So it's all there, but it logs all the submittals, all the RFIs are all logged in one space. The contractors use them, they put the drawings on there, there'll be people with tablets walking around the site accessing those, so it's good. It's a pretty good, it's probably the best that we've been involved in.
Yeah, it's great because say there's an RFI on something, when that's answered, it gets tagged to the drawing. So when you go to the drawing on the screen, it'll say, review RFI, 23. So it'll have a note there. So it almost like conforms the set as you're moving around it as things change. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not looking at dates, you're looking at the most recent.
You're always looking at the most recent set of everything. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and all the submittals are RFI. It says what the final answer was, so there may be 12 comments in there from different people, but it flags the official one or the latest one, however you set it up. So it really helps keep track of that. It's not, there's still 1,000 emails back and forth, but all the official communications really stays in there, and it's all there for record. So it's not like there's a gap in, we've got some emails from some people, and there's 3 days went by when nobody knows who sent what, and it was like all of a sudden the decision was made. It keeps it all in there neatly.
It keeps everybody accountable too, because there's certain durations in the contract that the design team has to review submittals, that the contractor has to review, revise and resubmits, and it keeps that number there. So when you look at submittals, it'll say when it was uploaded, what the duration is, and then once the duration goes over, say if the design team has, 10 or 20 days to review something, once it goes over that, it turns red. And so we're reviewing those in the meetings as well.
And then it
So-
sends us emails.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, it says we have things that are ready. It produces a lot of emails, that's why you want notifications off, but you guys don't want any of that notification, but, yeah, I mean, it's a good way to keep up with what's going on for the committee members, see what's active on site, and, I mean, you can kind of dive as deep into what's going on as you want to.
Good.
So we'll have the contract to send links around to everybody.
Excellent. Awesome.
It was a long-winded way of saying that. That's what we'll do.
I gotta say, it's kind of surreal getting this close to kicking this off. Well,
It wasn't easy, was it?
no.
That's
a lot of help.
and a lot of work ahead of us, but, once we start seeing progress, it's gonna be the best medicine at this point.
I wish the public could see all the support and the work that everybody's put into this, outside of the fire department. It's been a team effort, so it's amazing.
Good, all right. We got, invoices. Anybody wanna have them, or you gonna make me entertain?
You're really good at it.
entertain?
Really good at it.
I can tell you, so I'll entertain a motion, to approve LEC invoice number 153578 dated 9/12/2025 in the amount of $416.25.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Superfoot eye.
Color I.
Brian, I.
Darling, aye.
Conroy, aye.
Motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to approve Secotio Associates Architects invoice number 23083-18 dated 10/6/2025 in the amount of $25,840.11.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Superfoot eye.
color I.
O'Brien, I.
Darling, aye.
Conroy, aye.
Motion passes. Entertain a motion to approve Pomeroy Associates LLC invoice number 23.111.0-18 dated 10/7/2025 in the amount of $10,483.20.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Superfoot eye.
color I.
Brian, I.
Darling, aye.
Conroy, aye.
That's invoices.
Thank you.
Any old business? New business?
Just one small thing. Just want to thank Taylor for sending over all the cash flow
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
We finally went through with the borrow,
Great.
which was pretty stressful, but we got a 3.5% interest rate. So
Oh, wow.
Good.
That's great.
yeah, it's good. All the AA plus reaffirmed. So a lot of times getting knocked down.
Yep.
Wow,
We're sticking the same. So it's good.
that's awesome.
That's great. Congrats.
Yeah, very good news, coming in under budget. Borrowing is looking good, turtles are looking good.
It's almost too late.
Yeah, looking good.
It took let's just bathe in the glory. So, no, that's good, and it has been a team effort, everybody's done a wonderful job, and, just thanking the residents for supporting the project. Cause without the residents supporting the project, we wouldn't be here, so.
Absolutely.
Good for everyone. So that's it. And then scheduling the next meeting. We're looking month ahead.
Yeah, I think we can go a month.
We can send out updates to the full committee as they come up. So, when we clear the natural heritage barrier, when we start looking at tree clearing, we'll just send out a couple of scheduled updates.
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
group.
That's what Alex is working on too. She can blast some updates up there.
And we'll get them on the website so everybody knows what's going on. So I'd say, yeah, if we'd want to do a month.
Yep. So I think we were looking at Yeah, the second
Second Wednesday.
second Wednesday in each month, right? November 12th.
Sounds good to me.
It's actually already in the calendar.
Okay, all right.
All right, so let's not schedule the next meeting. No.
Yeah.
So the next meeting is gonna be the 12th at the police station at 6:30.
Yep.
To go. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Joe Chamberlain, Don Foster says I don't need a motion to adjourn, so we're done. LakeCAM, we're all set.